My child, listen carefully, because this is not a moment you can afford to ignore. No more waited, do you hear me? The season of silence you've been trapped in is breaking right now, and I am stepping into your life in a way you did not expect. This is not something for later. This is not something to come back to. This is happening now. You have been waiting for a sign, haven't you? Waiting for relief, for answer, for something, anything, to finally shift. You kept telling yourself, maybe tomorrow, maybe soon, but deep inside, you started to feel tired. Tired of hoping. Tired of holding on. Tired of wondering if anything would ever change. And yet here you are. That is not an accident. Out of all the moments in your day, out of all the distractions you could have followed, you were led here. Right here. Right now. Because I am no longer allowing you to sit in that place of waiting, confusion, and quiet pain. I am here to pull you out of it. Something has been building behind the scenes of your life. Something you could not see. While you were struggling to hold yourself together, while you were fighting silent battles no one else noticed, while you were questioning whether I was even listening, I was moving. Closer than you realize. You felt the weight, didn't you? A heaviness in your chest. That exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix. That loneliness that no one seemed to understand. You smiled for others, but inside, you were breaking in ways you didn't know how to explain. And still you kept going. But hear me now, my child, the waiting you've been enduring was never meant to be permanent. It was leading to this moment. This exact second where everything begins to shift. I am not speaking softly anymore. I am not whispering in the background of your busy life. I am stepping directly into your path because I need you to understand this with clarity. You are not abandoned, you are not forgotten, and you are not too late. No more waiting. I am here, right now. And what I am about to do in your life will not look like what you've been through. It will not feel like the pain you've carried. It will not resemble the silence that made you question everything. This is different. This moment matters more than you realize, and if you feel something stirring inside you as you read this, if your heart feels even slightly pulled, that is not coincidence. That is me, reaching for you. Do not scroll past this. Do not brush this aside like every other moment you almost listened, but didn't. Because this time something is changing. Stop right here, do not move past this moment. Do not scroll. Do not distract yourself. Do not tell yourself you will come back later, because you already know how many times you have said that before. This is not one of those moments you can delay. This is not something you can afford to push aside again. Stay with me. I need your full attention right now, not half of it, not what's left over after your thoughts wander, not what remains after your worries pull you away. I need you present in this exact second, because what is happening right now concerns you more deeply than you understand. You feel the tension inside you, don't you? That quiet pull telling you to stay while another voice tries to rush you away, telling you this is nothing important, telling you this can wait. That conflict you feel, that is not random. That is the moment where everything begins to separate. The moment where you either lean in or walk away again. And I'm asking you, no, I'm calling you stay. Because if you leave this moment, you are not just skipping words. You are stepping away from something that was meant to reach you at the exact point of your breaking. Yes, you're breaking. You have been holding more than you admit, carrying more than you show. You've been pushing through days that drain you, nights that exhaust you, thoughts that don't let you rest. And somewhere along the way, you became used to ignoring the moments that try to reach you, the moments that try to interrupt your pain. But this is not like those other moments. This is different. This is why you feel it heavier. This is why something inside you is telling you to slow down even if your mind is trying to move faster. This is why your heart is reacting even if you don't fully understand why. Because I am speaking directly into your life right now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Not when things are easier. Now. So I need you to do something you haven't done in a long time. I need you to pause. Let everything else wait for a moment. Let the noise settle. Let the pressure step back. Because if you keep rushing the way you have been, if you keep moving without listening, you will miss the very thing you have been asking for. And you have asked, haven't you? In quiet moments and thoughts you didn't say out loud, nights where your mind wouldn't stop racing, you asked for help. You asked for relief. You asked for something to change. You asked if anyone was listening. I heard you. Every single time. But hearing is not the same as you receiving. And right now, this moment, this is where you begin to receive. But you cannot receive if you are distracted. You cannot receive if you are halfway present. You cannot receive if you keep choosing to walk away. So stay. Stay even if it feels uncomfortable. Stay even if your mind tries to wander. Stay even if your emotions start rising in ways you didn't expect. Because that discomfort, that stirring, that pressure, it is not here to harm you. It is here to wake you. You have been drifting longer than you realize. Not because you wanted to, but because life pulled you in too many directions at once. Responsibilities, expectations, disappointments, fears, all of it slowly crowded your heart until you stopped noticing when I was trying to reach you. But I never stopped reaching. And I am not stopping now. That is why this moment feels urgent. That is why this moment feels different. Because I am not whispering anymore. I am calling you directly. And you need to hear this clearly. This is not just another message you can skip and forget. This is not something that will repeat itself over and over until you finally pay attention. This moment matters. Right now. So do not treat it lightly. Do not reduce it to just another passing thought. Do not convince yourself that you will come back later when you feel more ready, because readiness is not what brought you here. I brought you here, and I brought you here for a reason. So stay with me just a little longer, because what comes next is something you have been waiting for, even if you didn't realize it yet. My child, I see you more clearly than you think. I see the exhaustion you try to hide behind your routine. I see the way you keep showing up for others, even when you feel like you have nothing left inside of you. You've been running on empty for so long, pretending you're okay, convincing yourself that you just need to push a little harder, hold on a little longer, survive one more day. But inside you're tired. Not just physically tired, soul tired. There are moments when everything feels heavy for no clear reason. Moments when your chest feels tight, your thoughts feel overwhelming, and you don't even have the energy to explain what's wrong. You've carried pain that no one else noticed. You've endured battles you couldn't speak about. And over time, that silence became your normal. You learned how to smile while hurting. You learned how to stay strong while breaking. You learned how to keep going even when you felt like giving up. And the hardest part, no one truly saw it. There were nights when you lay awake, staring into the darkness, replaying everything in your mind, wondering where things went wrong, questioning your worth, questioning your path, questioning if any of it even mattered. You asked questions you didn't dare say out loud, questions that echoed inside you with no clear answer. Why does it feel like this? Why am I still stuck here? Why does it feel like I'm doing this alone? And in those moments it felt like silence answered you. That silence made you feel forgotten. It made you feel distant. It made you feel like maybe, just maybe, you were overlooked. But you weren't. Not for a single moment. I saw every tear you wiped away quickly so no one would ask questions. I saw every time your voice almost broke but you forced yourself to stay composed. I saw the way you carried disappointment when things didn't work out again. I saw how you kept hoping, even when hope felt painful. And I saw the moments when that hope started to fade. You didn't just wake up one day feeling this way. It built over time. Disappointments stacked on top of each other. Prayers that felt unanswered. Doors that didn't open. People who didn't stay. Situations that drained you more than they gave back. Little by little it wore you down. Until you reached a point where you didn't even know what to expect anymore. You stopped asking for too much. You stopped believing too quickly. You stopped trusting that things could actually change. And instead you just endured. You told yourself, this is just how life is. But deep inside something in you knew this wasn't how it was supposed to feel. That quiet ache inside your chest, that emptiness that nothing seemed to fill, that longing you couldn't explain, that was your spirit searching for something more. Something real. Something that could finally bring peace to the chaos you've been carrying. Because you were never meant to carry all of this alone. You were never meant to feel this isolated, this drained, this overwhelmed. And yet you kept going. Even when you didn't feel strong, you kept moving. Even when you didn't feel hopeful, you kept trying. Even when you felt like no one was listening, you still whispered your thoughts into the silence. That matters. You matter. And I need you to understand this deeply. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not too Virgum, and you are not too late. You are simply tired from carrying what was never yours to carry alone. And I have been watching you do it. Every step, every moment, every silent struggle. That's why I'm speaking to you like this now. Because I know exactly where you are, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I know the confusion. I know the loneliness. I know the weight. And I know how close you are to reaching a breaking point. But listen to me carefully, my child, you are not alone in this moment. You never were. And what you're feeling right now, this heaviness, this vulnerability, this quiet ache, it is not the end of you. It is the place where everything begins to change. My child, I need you to look back for a moment, not with pain but with understanding. You have been carrying your past like it was proof that something went wrong, like every delay meant rejection, like every closed door meant you were being pushed aside. But what you could not see then, I am revealing to you now. Nothing you went through was meaningless. Not a single moment. That delay you cried over, it was not abandonment. It was protection. You were being held back from something that would have drained you even more than what you were already carrying. You saw a door close and thought it was the end, but I saw what was behind that door, and I could not allow you to walk into it. That loss you still think about, it was not taken from you to break you. It was removed to redirect you. You were holding on to something that could not grow with you, something that could not align with where your life is meant to go. And even though it hurt, even though it left a space inside you, it created room for something better. But at the time you didn't understand. All you felt was the pain. All you saw was the silence. All you experienced was the confusion of not knowing why things kept falling apart when you were trying so hard to hold them together. You asked questions that felt like they had no answers. Why me? Why now? Why does it keep happening like this? And because you didn't receive immediate clarity, you assumed the worst. You assumed you were being overlooked. You assumed your efforts didn't matter. You assumed your prayers were not being heard. But my child, you were never being ignored. You were being guided. Even in the moments that felt the most uncertain, even in the situations that made the least sense, I was still there, quietly working in ways you could not yet recognize. While you were focusing on what was being taken away, I was focusing on what needed to be prepared. Because you were not ready for what you were asking for, not yet. Not in the condition you were in. Not while carrying the weight you were carrying. Not while being surrounded by what was slowly pulling you further away from your purpose. So I allowed certain things to fall apart, not to punish you, but to realign you. That situation that left you feeling rejected, it was never a reflection of your worth. And with aggression of your duarian. That waiting season that made you feel stuck, it was never meant to trap you. It was meant to strengthen you. To build something inside you that could not be formed in comfort or ease. You were being shaped. Quietly. Patiently. Intentionally. Every disappointment you faced, it taught you something. Every moment you felt alone, it revealed something. Every time things didn't go the way you expected, it redirected something. But because it didn't look like progress, you thought nothing was happening. Because it didn't feel like growth, you thought you were standing still. Because it didn't bring immediate relief, you thought it had no purpose. But now I need you to see it differently. Nothing you went through was wasted. Not the tears. Not the confusion. Not the nights you felt like you were falling apart. All of it, every single part, has been shaping you into someone who can carry what is coming next. Because what is coming requires strength you didn't have before. It requires clarity you didn't yet possess. It requires a heart that has been stretched, tested, and refined. And that is exactly what has been happening even when you couldn't see it. You thought you were losing time, but you were being prepared in time. You thought you were falling behind, but you were being aligned. You thought you were breaking, but you were actually being rebuilt. And now you are standing at a point where everything you went through begins to make sense. Not all at once, not completely, but enough for you to realize this truth: you were never stuck. You were being positioned. Every delay, every redirection, every painful lesson, it was leading you here. In this moment, where you are no longer looking at your past as proof of failure, but as evidence of preparation. And my child, what you thought was the end of something was only the beginning of what I have been preparing for you all along. My child, listen to me carefully now, because this is where everything becomes serious. Something is happening. Not later. Not someday. Right now. You may not fully see it yet, but you can feel it, that subtle shift in your spirit, that unexplainable tension in your chest, that quiet sense that something is changing. That is not your imagination. That is not coincidence. That is movement, and you cannot afford to ignore it. For so long, you have been in a season of waiting, a season where things felt delayed, paused, were uncertain. But that season is not stretching endlessly the way you think. It is closing. It is reaching its end. And as it closes, something new is opening. But hear this clearly: transition moments are delicate. They require your attention. They require your awareness. Because if you treat this moment like every other moment, if you brush it aside, if you delay your response again, if you allow distraction to pull you away, you risk missing the very shift you have been praying for. This is not meant to scare you. This is meant to wake you. You have been given many quiet nudges before. Many small moments where you felt something calling you deeper, asking you to pause, asking you to realign. But life got loud and you kept moving, and those moments passed. But this moment is not passing quietly. This moment is demanding your attention. Because what is approaching in your life cannot be met with the same version of you that has been drifting, distracted, and exhausted. You cannot step into what is coming while holding on to the same patterns, the same hesitation, the same distance that kept you stuck before. Something is coming that requires your full presence, your full awareness, your full connection. You feel the urgency rising, don't you? That sense that time is not as open as you once believed. That feeling that things are accelerating. that awareness that you can't keep postponing the changes you know you need to make. That is not pressure from the world, that is a signal that the window in front of you is opening, but it will not remain open forever. You have cried for change. You have asked for breakthrough. You have prayed for something to finally shift in your life. And now it is beginning. But breakthrough does not arrive loudly at first. It begins quietly, subtle, in moments like this where you are called to pay attention, to listen, to respond. And if you ignore the beginning, you delay the outcome. That is why I am speaking to you with urgency now, because I do not want you to miss what is already in motion. There are things aligning around you that you cannot yet see. Paths being adjusted, obstacles being moved, opportunities being prepared. But your alignment matters too. Your response matters. Your willingness to stay present in this moment matters. You cannot stay passive anymore. You cannot keep saying later. You cannot keep treating your own life like something that will eventually figure itself out. Because this is the moment where everything begins to separate the old from the new, the waiting from the receiving, the confusion from the clarity. And you are standing right in the middle of it. So I need you to understand the weight of this. If you lean in now, if you stay present, if you allow yourself to fully receive what is being placed in front of you, everything begins to shift faster than you expect. But if you turn away, if you fall back into distraction, if you treat this like just another passing message, you return to the same cycle, the same waiting, the same confusion, the same exhaustion. And I do not want that for you. That is why I am calling you with urgency now. That is why this moment feels heavier than the others. Because something is being offered to you right now that will not keep knocking forever. So stay alert, my child. Stay aware. Do not let your mind drift away from this. Do not let your heart close off out of fear or doubt. Because this moment, this exact moment, is the beginning of the shift you have been asking for. And once it fully unfolds, nothing in your life will remain the same. My child, this is the moment everything begins to change. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not someday when you feel more ready, more prepared, or more certain. This right here is the turning point you have been unknowingly walking toward through every struggle, every delay, every silent prayer. This moment is different. You can feel it, can't you? There is something about this second that does not feel ordinary. Something about this pause that feels heavier, deeper, more real than anything you have experienced in a long time. That is because this moment has been chosen, aligned, prepared specifically for you. You were not randomly brought here. Every step you took, every distraction you avoided, every second that led you to this exact point was guided with intention. Even when you thought you were just moving through another ordinary day, you were being positioned. Positioned for this. Because this is not just a message. This is your intersection. The place where everything you have been through meets everything that is about to unfold. For so long, you have been living in between hope and doubt, in between effort and exhaustion, in between believing something could change and fearing that it never would. But now you are standing at the edge of that in-between. And what comes next depends on this moment. Not in fear, but in truth. Because moments like this are rare. They are not loud. They do not force themselves into your life. They arrive quietly and they ask for your attention. They ask for your presence. They ask for your willingness to respond. And right now you are being asked to respond. Not with perfection, not with complete understanding, but with openness. With a simple yes in your heart that says, I am here, I am listening, I am ready to receive. That is all it takes. You have spent so much time trying to figure everything out before moving forward. Trying to make sense of every detail. Trying to feel fully ready before taking a step. But this moment does not require all of that. It requires your presence. Because what is happening right now is not about what you can control, it is about what is being aligned for you. There is a shift taking place not just around you, but within you. The heaviness you have been carrying is beginning to loosen. The confusion that clouded your thoughts is starting to clear. The distance you felt is beginning to close. And you may not fully understand it yet, but something inside you is waking up. Something inside you is recognizing that this is not just another passing moment. This is your moment. The moment where you stop drifting. The moment where you stop carrying everything alone. The moment where you stop standing at the edge of change and finally step into it. Because I am here now. Closer than you have felt in a long time. Not distant. Not silent. Not hidden behind circumstances you cannot understand. I am here present, speaking directly into your life, reaching for you in a way that cannot be ignored unless you choose to ignore it. And that choice is in your hands. You can stay. You can lean in. You can allow this moment to become the beginning of something new. Where you can turn away and return to the same patterns, the same waiting, the same questions that have kept you in place. But deep down you already know what you want. You already know you cannot keep living the way you have been. You already know something has to change. And this is where it changes. This is where you step out of the old and into the new. Not all at once. Not perfectly. But intentionally. Because this moment is not just important, it is yours. Given to you. Prepared for you. Waiting for you to accept it. So do not hesitate now. Do not shrink back into doubt. Do not tell yourself you will respond later. Because later is what kept you waiting for so long. And now there is no more waiting. Only this moment. And what you choose to do with it. My child, listen to me now with your whole heart. Because what I am about to tell you is not a distant promise, it is something that has already begun. The shift you have been waiting for, it is no longer coming. It is here. Even if your eyes cannot fully see it yet, even if your situation still looks the same on the surface, even if your mind is trying to question what your spirit is starting to feel, something has already changed deep within you. This is how it begins. Quietly, subtly, but powerfully. The heaviness that once consumed you is beginning to loosen. The pressure that sat on your chest, making every step feel harder than it should, is starting to lift. You may notice it in small moments. First, a breath that feels lighter, a thought that feels clear, a sudden sense of calm where there used to be noise. That is not random. That is me moving within you, restoring your strength, healing your hidden wounds, rebuilding the parts of you that life tried to break. My child, your breakthrough is not something you have to chase anymore. It is not something you have to beg for or keep wondering about. It is already moving toward you, already unfolding in ways you cannot yet fully see. Things are aligning. Doors that felt permanently closed are beginning to shift under my hand. Situations that seemed frozen in place are starting to move. Answers you have been waiting for are forming, even now, behind the scenes of your life. But listen carefully, the greatest change is not just around you. It is within you. Because before your life transforms, your spirit must awaken. And it is awakening now. The strength you thought you lost is rising again. The hope you believed had faded is returning. The clarity you have been searching for is beginning to settle into your heart. You are not the same person you were before this moment. Something inside you has shifted. And that shift is the beginning of everything. But now I am asking something of you. Not something heavy. Not something complicated. Just something real. I need your response. I need your yes. Not a perfect yes. Not a fully certain yes. Just a willing yes. A yes that says, Even if I don't understand everything, I choose to believe something is changing. Because your yes is powerful. Your yes opens doors that hesitation kept closed. Your yes aligns you with what is already being released. Your yes moves you out of waiting and into receiving. You have spent so long holding back, waiting for certainty, waiting for everything to make sense before you allow yourself to believe again. But this moment is not asking for certainty. It is asking for faith. Even if that faith feels small, even if it feels fragile, even if it is just enough to whisper, "I am ready." So I want you to act right now, not later, not after you think about it. Now, let it come from your heart. Say it. Declare it. "I believe." Or if your spirit feels it deeper, say, "Amen." Type it. Speak it. Claim it. Because when you do, you are not just saying words, you are stepping into alignment with what is already happening in your life. You are choosing to receive. You are choosing to move forward. You are choosing to trust that this moment is real. And as you do, you will begin to notice it more clearly. The peace that settles over you. The clarity that replaces confusion. The quiet confidence that begins to grow inside you. You will look back on this exact moment and realize this was the turning point. This was where the waiting ended. This was where everything began to shift. So do not hold back now, my child. Do not let doubt silence your response. Do not let fear keep you still. Because your breakthrough is already in motion and your yes is what brings you fully into it. My child, do not ignore this moment. Do not treat this like something ordinary. Do not let it slip past you the way so many other moments have. Because this is not just another message. This is a line being drawn between who you were and who you are becoming. You have felt it all throughout this message, the pull, the weight, the quiet voice calling you deeper. That was not your imagination. That was not emotion alone. That was me. And I am still here right now, standing at the door of your heart. Do not walk away again. Not this time. Because every time you ignore a moment like this, it becomes easier to drift, easier to disconnect, easier to return to the same patterns that left you feeling empty and exhausted. And I do not want you to go back there. You have come too far. You have endured too much. You are too close now. Something has already begun in your life, something that will not fully make sense yet. But you will see it unfold step by step. You will notice the changes. You will feel the difference. You will recognize that this moment was not small, it was the beginning. But only if you stay connected. Stay close to me. Not just in moments like this, but daily, intentionally, honestly. Speak to me, even when you don't have the right words. Yearn to me even when you feel uncertain. Trust me even when you cannot see everything clearly yet. Because I am not leaving you. I am not stepping away after this moment. I am walking with you into what comes next. But you must not close your heart again. You must not silence this connection. You must not pretend you didn't feel what you just felt. This is your reminder, your warning, and your reassurance all at once. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And this is only the beginning. My child, as this message settles into your spirit, understand this: what you have just received is not meant to stop with you. It is a seed, and seeds are meant to be sown so that others may be reached, healed, and awakened. When you choose to support this mission, you are not giving to a person, you are opening a river through which my word flows into hearts that are still lost, still waiting, still crying out in silence. I am placing this desire in your heart right now, to be part of something greater, to help carry light into darkness, to help these messages reach the one who is on the edge of giving up. As it is written, give, and it will be given unto you. and I speak this over you now as a living promise. When you sow into this work, you are planting into souls, and the harvest will return to you in ways you cannot yet imagine. I am calling you in this moment, yes, you, to take this step. The PayPal donation link is placed in the description of every video, and even before your eyes on the screen through the QR code. This is not coincidence. This is your opportunity to act. Do not hesitate. Do not delay. Step into this obedience now. And as you give, I declare over your life, your provision will multiply, your peace will increase, and doors will open that no one can shut.